everyone, welcome back to the Visions podcast. Today I am joined by Anthony Darvall. I hope you're doing all good.
I'm fantastic. What about you?
I'm all good, thanks. It's very hot here, so
Oh, right. It is freezing here. Not, England freezing, but for Australia, it's freezing.
so I always ask every guest to introduce themselves first, just to give them a little bit of background and yeah, off you go.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Anthony. I'm an actor currently in Australia, British Australian. Um, let's see. I've covered everything from theatre, films, verticals. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and now I'm here talking with the wonderful Elise.
So I always say, what first got you into the acting space? What was your first introduction to that space?
Oh, okay. My first introduction was what was it? Was it year eight? Year eight or nine? It was like middle of high school drama. That was when I first started like you know doing the thing, and I'd known from a little while beforehand that I wanted to be an actor, and so just started with the simplest avenue, which seemed to be electives at school. So I just continued on from there. Basically, it started with theatre sports, which I'm sure that's
Yeah.
widely known, widely known across the world, but it's like improvisation games, basically. So the most popular one is Space Jump, where if you're starting, you're on stage, you're given a scenario that you have to perform. And so you just perform the scenario. It could be anything. It could be you're picking up your cat from the vet, or you're getting groceries, or whatever the scenario is. And then someone will call space jump, and you freeze. And then one of the other participants will jump in, and they have to create a brand new scenario from your frozen position. It can't be the same scenario, it has to be completely different. And you just have to continue with the scene until they call space jump. Then another person jumps in, and another, and another, and another. And so you've done maybe five, six, seven different scenes. And then they'll uh, stop and they'll call reverse space jump once everyone's in, or yeah. Anyway, and so one person has to jump out, and then you have to go back to the previous scene where if you had six participants or whatever, you have to continue that previous scene that you were doing on from everyone's frozen position, um, which would be completely different from whatever the scene was, and you just keep going, 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 and it's a good bit of fun, you know.
When you were year eight or nine, did you ever have, you said you always wanted to be an actor, but did you ever have doubts in that early time where you thought, is this really for me?
Um, God, it's not to show my age, but it was such a long time ago. Uh, I don't think so. No. I mean, yeah, for whatever reason, became very single-mindedly focused on that. I remember rather than doing my homework, I would be watching interviews of Inside the Actors Studio. For anyone who's watching this who hasn't seen that, it's a great, great old television show. It's no longer running, but they used to bring in. It was based in an acting school in New York, I think, and this host James Lipton would interview famous movie stars from the time, and most of them are up on YouTube now. You can, Marlon Brando did one. I think he did one. Robert De Niro did one. You can actually see in a couple of the interviews a very young Bradley Cooper in the audience asking questions of people like Robert De Niro. It's really funny because you look out and you're like, gets to question time, and then Mr. De Niro is sitting there, and then a young Bradley Cooper who isn't even a star yet has like, "Hello, Mr. De Niro." Yeah, so I've certainly had doubts uh, further along in my career, but for whatever reason, not in those early years.
Okay. So I'm going to go into your craft and how you get there. So when you first, because you've done some psychological um, and dramatic scenes and verticals and stuff like that. When you first receive a psychological demanding role, where do you begin? Research, instinct, physically, or something else?
I I think it's different for every single role. So I never um yeah, I don't have a sort of a set plan, but I definitely let interest guide me. It it is definitely more challenging when you get something that is very heavy or psychologically demanding or a lot more sort of dealing with a lot heavier material rather than I've done a couple of romantic comedy verticals and as fun as they are, it's much easier to just sort of dive in. I do make it a practice of trying not to bring my work home with me because I have done that in the past and it's affected my personal relationships and it's affected my quality of life and it's just not worth it at the end of the day. All respect to people like Daniel Day-Lewis who do that. It's you know it's just not my cup of tea. um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, you start with the script, and then yeah, you could go so many different avenues with it. It's more about for me just where my interest takes me. It might be the period and the setting. It might be the person, their history, what's happening, some of the scenes, their relationship with the characters. So yeah, there isn't really a defined path, but I think that's part of the craft. Everyone talks about how when you get a new script, it's like you're learning to act for the first time all over again.
You just said that you don't take it home anymore when you're doing psychological and dramatic things. How did you learn that through time? How did you come up with techniques to not take it home with you?
Um, I I don't necessarily have a process of not taking it home with me. It's just sort of uh, leaving it at the door. You know, it's not too dissimilar to anybody's day job in a way where it's like, oh, I clocked off at 5. All right, I can leave leave that at the office, so to speak. And I like in the past, I've definitely been very like you know, wanting to live in the character. And when I'm not on stage or I'm not on set, I'm like, you know, holding on to it. And it it works, but it doesn't necessarily for me work as like it doesn't give me any marginal improvement on um, whatever else I'm doing. So yeah, I do have a vivid memory of when I was in drama school. My uh, yeah, my second year, early on in my second year, we were doing these very intense emotional exercises. I studied something called Eric Morris. That's what the school was based on, and it's heavily emotion based. That's its whole sort of core philosophy is that the emotion is the immediate reality of the scene. And so if you can crack that, then anyway, there's a lot more to it, but that's a large part of it. And so you have a lot of emotionally demanding exercises, and this didn't happen to me, but one actress who was in my cohort, she did a particularly demanding emotional scene, and she was like bawling, crying her eyes out, and the instructor was like, right, that's it, the exercise is over, and a few classmates went over to comfort her, and he was like, no, leave her alone. This isn't, she's not going through some traumatic experience. We're here to work, okay? So leave her alone and just let her work through it. And I don't know why that's such a core memory for me. I think it's just a sense of professionalism about the work that you're not meant to like take it too personally and carry it around with you like some sort of tortured artist. Anyway.
So, how much of your process, if you have one, is planned before arriving on set?
Um, I would say a decent amount. I'm very much someone who, if I care about the character, I want to explore the life of that person. I personally believe that understanding breeds empathy, and when you have empathy with the person that you're trying to portray, you naturally deliver a more authentic performance. And so I mean, it's sort of fun for me. I will just sit around and I will figure out what drives this person and why is he the way that he is and what could have possibly happened in his life that taught him the lessons that lead him to be the person that he's being within the script that I'm enacting. Um, so there's a lot of that, and then going through the script, memorizing the lines, all of that fun stuff. Um, but then you don't want to sort of hold on to it too tightly when you're on set. You don't want to be sort of frantically going through. Oh, okay, so we're doing this scene, and
Mm.
all right, so the actress is over there, and that reminds me of that. You hopefully you've done the work, and it's sort of embedded in your psyche, and then you can just go in and experience the world as it's happening and take in the sensory environment such as it is and play in that world.
So balancing is a big thing in characters, whether like they're threatening or charismatic. How do you balance the charisma and threat so the audience is pulled in but never fully relaxed?
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. How do you balance charisma and threat? Um, I I don't quite know how to answer that because it's a very sort of output related question, and it's not sort of my job to think about whether the audience is receiving sort of 80% charisma and 20% threat. It's like I go in and I play the human circumstances as they're written to the best of my ability, and hopefully that translates into contributing to an experience for the audience. So whether that then translates into me being charismatic and threatening, that's up to you guys to decide. So yeah, not sure how to answer that.
Do you enjoy playing these morally dangerous, threatening characters?
Um, Yeah, yes and no. I think I don't know. It's sort of funny where I've landed up. I didn't when I was in drama school and I was young, fresh-faced lad of what was it, 20 or 19 or something when I started drama school. Um, I didn't, that wasn't my shtick at all. I was very much the um, earnest young guy with the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he had a lot to think about. And, I played Hamlet in drama school, very much like that ilk. And then I get out of drama school, and all of a sudden, the next year I'm playing Heathcliff, and the year after that I'm playing Valmont in Dangerous Liaisons, the John Malkovich character in Dangerous Liaisons, and I'm getting like drug dealers who are threatening people, and like men who are beating up their wives, and I it's not it's in some ways it's easier. It's not nice to. I mean, I sometimes feel sorry for the people that I have to slap around in a scene or something like that. Like it's definitely I don't know. Yeah, yes, in some regards because there's always a lot to um uncover about these motivations, like the sort of lead characters, especially people who are victimized at some point. At some point, they have a lot of their journey very much like it. It's all on the page, and especially if they're the lead, you kind of follow and understand their journey. A lot of my characters have a very rich underworld, and you may not sort of know why they're doing the things that they're doing, and it may get revealed in the story or it may not. So in that regard, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Let's go on to the vertical drama space, which has become very popular in the last, I don't know how many years, but recently it's become the biggest thing, I think. What surprised you most when you went into the vertical space?
I think actually, what surprised me most was the audience engagement. I mean, it's been wonderful, but uh, I didn't sort of foresee. I had my birthday fairly recently, and a bunch of fans reached made posts about me, and I yeah, that was really wonderful. And I don't re necessarily have like the largest roles in the vertical space. I'm not generally a leading character. I'm very much, villains, antagonists, interesting supporting characters, but still there's that engagement there, and it's been absolutely wonderful. That would probably be the most surprising thing, because when I started out doing these, I filmed I was part of the cast of the second ever vertical drama filmed in Australia, and I auditioned for the first one, filmed it, and I didn't get it. But yeah, that level of engagement surprised me a great deal, because previously, I've been acting a lot, and whenever I'd done theater, I got a lot of good feedback and everything. But there was never this sort of like people from all across the world reaching out, going like, "Oh, I watched you in this, and this was fantastic. Oh, and I really liked you in this." And uh, yeah, that's been wonderful. Um, yeah.
So, how does acting for a mobile first frame change the way you think about pace, facial details, and emotional clarity?
It doesn't change my thinking with regards to my performance, except for the fact that the frame is different. So, with traditional filmmaking, obviously, like we're doing right now, we've got quite a wide box, and that's very much, um, you have room to play in there. Whereas in a vertical drama, you might be like in like that, and so it's not so much the sort of character side of it. It's more so the technical aspect of making sure that your performance fits in the frame, whether they're going a close up or a wide or whatever.
So, vertical dramas do move quickly. They're filmed very quickly over days. Um, do you like that fast pace?
Um, I mean, like it is what it is. It's very comparable to soap operas. I mean, it's
Yeah.
basically exactly the same as soap operas. I very much got my start in the theater, so I will happily keep rehearsing something for a year if given the chance. But obviously you don't have the luxury of that in vertical dramas, in film generally as well. So yeah, I enjoy it for what it is, but my preference would always be for more time to explore the character, even just selfishly to sort of, yeah, map out the world as richly as I can.
In my opinion, I think sometimes vertical dramas are better sometimes than TV and movies. Do you think TV and movies could learn stuff from vertical dramas?
I think giving the audience what they want is what I think. I think vertical dramas, like there's problems with every aspect of the industry, and no institution is perfect. But yes, I think that they came around at a very opportune time where there wasn't a lot of a market was being underserved, and that would be the people who would read romantasy books and go to see the romantic comedy movies. And there wasn't like, the romantic comedy sort of died in the mid 2000s, and they had a slow death throughout to the 2010s.
Mhm.
Um, and so the that market had been underserved for quite a while. Then vertical dramas came, and they 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 saw a gap in the market, and they filled it, whether intentionally or otherwise. And so and they've exploded as a result. I think, the film and TV industry could take a look at that and go, maybe we need to stop being so up on our high horses, and focus on serving the audience.
So let's talk about your upcoming movie, Algorithm.
Okay. Um, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, give us just a little introduction to it.
Okay. It's the title is Algorithm. I don't have a direct release date, but I know that it's going to be coming out at some point this year, which is pretty exciting. The general sort of pitch is a narcissistic social media influencer, me, is kidnapped and tortured live stream. His torture is live streamed globally, and it's sort of a cross between Wolf of Wall Street and Saw.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's very different. It's very different from Cinderella's Royal Secret, or uh, I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that I did. Anyway, the vertical dramas that I've done. It's very different from that.
What first drew you to Tommy Carter as a character?
Ooh, he. It's what's interesting with that is the director Eddie Aria, who I had previously worked with, reached out to me because he wanted me to audition for this character, and I actually did an audition with the original script first. I didn't know much about what I was auditioning. He gave me a monologue from the movie The 25th Hour. Edward Norton has this insane, racist, provocative rant about everyone. He goes off at everyone. Um, and he asked me to put that down as a tape, which I think took me like the whole monologue was maybe 3 or 4 minutes long. Um, and it was a big one. And but then he showed me the script, and he told me about what he was planning to do, and it was such an interesting world because it blended sort of, this heightened, um I want to say fantastical, but that's not quite right. This heightened reality with what's happening a lot of the time out in the real world now, with large scale influencers, everyone doing anything that they can for attention and clicks, and getting a sense of who they are as a person and validation for their existence through their online persona. And that's sort of taken to the extreme in this film. But then you also explore the person underneath that, um, and what they're going through. So it was, as we talked about previously, very psychologically satisfying to explore that.
Tommy's described as someone whose online cruelty and appetite for attention, it's come back to haunt him, really, hasn't it, throughout the film? Because
Oh yeah.
he's like some pranks and stuff like that and everything. So, did you approach a different way, making him feel human rather than simply unlikable?
I think uh I mean the approach is to just you never want to. I mean, every actor has said that, especially ones who play sort of morally gray characters, is that you never want to judge your character. You're sort of the representative of your character, and you're there to give them the best possible defense. So I didn't I understand at a conceptual level that, what he's doing is horrible, but to me it's not up to me to make a judgment on what he's doing. It's up to me to understand why he's doing it and create the best justification for committing the acts that he does.
Did you learn anything about social media more than you already know um, while doing this film?
Yes. So many things. So many things. Uh, I learned about I didn't realize how I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize how bad this sort of influencer culture had gotten or can get. There's a guy I believe he's called Johnny Somali. I could be wrong. He's a very famous influencer who's been arrested in multiple countries for whatever incidents he's been doing. He's been banned from certain countries. It was very surreal when I was making this. He was in he was involved in some sort of controversy. I can't remember what it was at the time, and I just remember, like, I was reading my script, and then like you see that pop up in your feed, and you're like, that's very very apt. And all sorts of trends that I didn't realize were a thing. I believe they're called mukbangs, where I forget which country it originated in. I don't want to say one in case I'm wrong, but it involves you're on camera and you're just eating food until you're sick. And
Yeah, I
the
have seen. Yeah.
the most popular ones get hundreds of millions of views, and I don't for the life of me, I don't understand it. Um, so yes, there's been lots.
Does it make you think about what you put on social media as well?
No, I mean I'm very I struggle to just keep up with my social media as it is. I'm probably underperforming when it comes to that category. So no, if anything, I could probably take a leaf out of their books and just stop caring as much and try and put out some more content. So
What do you hope audiences take away from Tommy's journey throughout the film?
I hope that well, I don't really want to tell people how to experience it, but I believe that there is a lesson about the validity of chasing the validity of your existence on social media. So something around that. But yeah, that's up to the audience to decide.
What does discipline outside acting teach you about patience, repetition, and the craft?
Um, uh, I think it all just comes down to consistency, no matter what it is. It's a bit of a glib answer, but when you've been going as long as I have, that's the main thing. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Whether you spend that extra hour reading that script when it's late at night and you want to go to bed, or you're not understanding some sort of move in jiu-jitsu or whatever, and so you focus on training that for a little while until you can actually lock it in. Yeah.
Are there moments in everything you filmed that movement, posture is reveals more to a character than the actual dialogue that you're speaking?
I I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but definitely yes. It's film is a visual medium, so it's unlike theater in that way where the dialogue drives the story. Um, if you can get away with doing something or portraying a moment without saying something, it's not always better, but it's definitely worth exploring. I forget what movie it was, but there was a very famous movie where Clint Eastwood's character had a monologue, and he gave it to his opposing character in the scene and said, "Hey, I want you to do the monologue." And so, he, like, got rid of all of Clint Eastwood got rid of all of his lines, and when they showed the final version of the movie, the final cut, the actor that had worked with Clint Eastwood was all excited because he had this big moment with Clint, and the camera stayed mostly on Clint listening to the monologue for the majority of it. So he was left on the cutting room floor. And I think that shows one, like Clint Eastwood's understanding of film, and two, it points to something that behavior is. Uh, for the most part, more interesting than just chewing the scenery.
What do you still carry from the theatre to your acting on screen in front of the camera?
I think it's a, I think it's just a love of the craft, really. That's sort of uh, where I got my start, really. So, and there's this sort of the joy of exploration, especially in rehearsals, where you've got such a lengthy time to do that, and just being able to discover the character. You don't have that luxury in film and TV, but you know, there's always opportunities, no matter what scene you're doing, to find something that you never even thought of when you're just in the moment opposite the other actor.
So, the creative industry is very like unpredictable because you don't know where the next job is coming from and all that sort of stuff. How do you stay resilient through that time where the work is not there?
Oh, it's not easy. Um, I think going back to class and training, keeping the instincts sharp, and um, working on your blind spots. Yeah, it's you know uh, trying to network and expand. I mean, it's very much sort of hustling to get the next job. When it is a dry period, it's tough, and you just sort of weather the storm the best you can.
So, looking ahead, what kind of roles or creative challenges feel most exciting to you now?
I think for me personally, I would love to have some time where I could get back to the theater. The last performance that I did was The Importance of Being Earnest, and that would have been in 2023, I believe it was. So it's been a while now. And much as I love film and TV for the amount of people that it can reach, theater always has a special place in my heart.
Just one more question. How do you feel about everything creatively in the creative industry at the moment?
I think we're at an interesting point in time, and it feels very much reminiscent to me of the 1970s. So, in the 50s and 60s in the film and TV industry, you had huge institutions that controlled absolutely everything. And, they were putting out big blockbusters, and eventually everyone got sick and tired of it. And you had this new wave of filmmakers who created all of these amazing, interesting films and expanded the art form and tried new things that people hadn't seen before. That's where we got Spielberg and Scorsese and George Lucas and all sorts of people. Um, and it feels like, the institutions rose again, new institutions, and now we're at a point where they've ossified and you've got newer people rising up through the ranks, whether it's independent vertical creators or people like Curry Barker and with his film Obsession, or the creator of Backrooms. Especially now with social media, everyone's got the opportunity to get their script and their idea out there.
So every podcast, I do a two things. First of all, is who are your visions? Visions. So I've got different genres in my podcast. So I always ask every guest who their visions are in each genre. So first of all, who is your vision of TV? So that can be an actor, an actress, or a TV show you love.
Hmm. I hope I'm understanding the question correctly, but for me, currently, my vision of TV and the optimal viewing experience for me at the moment is One Piece on Netflix, the live action show. I think
Yeah.
it's fantastic. It ticks all the boxes for me in terms of long running, or something that's already been successful. I think Breaking Bad is probably the best show that's ever been made.
Next is vision of movies. So it's the same movie actor, actress, or a movie that you always watch whenever it's on.
Easy, easy, easy. The Lord of the Rings, the extended edition, and I'm going to claim the entire trilogy as the one thing because that's a complete viewing experience. It is the perfect blend of practical technology, modern CGI, the best storytelling that has ever been put to film. The acting is phenomenal. The world building, the immersion into Tolkien's world, everything.
Vision of music, a music artist or artists that are currently on repeat for you.
I think, what is it? At the moment, I found this little band, and I don't want to butcher the name, but let me just find that playlist. It's their music is very simple, but their lyrics I very much enjoy their lyrics. Late Night Thoughts, that's it. Yeah, they're very like the music's kind of upbeat and simple, a lot of acoustic guitar, but they've got very, very interesting, deep songs.
Next is vertical vision. You've been in plenty of vertical dramas, so I'm not going to ask you to describe each one of those with a one word or phrase. What I will say
So
is to describe your time in the vertical space with one word or a phrase.
just a whole heap of fun.
Nice. I like that one. The Vision Book Club, an author or book you love.
Ooh, okay. So I'm currently in the middle of reading. I don't know why I've taken on this project, but I have started to sort of go through authors that I've always heard about, classic authors, and read their entire books, entire collection of works. Last year I did George Orwell. I started reading Tolstoy, and I found the Russians just a tad too fatalistic for me. So I took a break from Tolstoy. I'm currently reading Steinbeck's works, and he's really interesting. He takes his time, like it's unbelievable. Some of the books you're like, oh my God, this is dragging along, and then you get to sort of two-thirds of the way through, and you're like, okay, wow, now this really grabbed me. But his sense of developing characters that you feel like you could meet on the street, they feel so real and so lived in, is absolutely phenomenal. And when he's really on, his ability to create a sense of place that no matter where or when it's set, you would want to go there. I think one of my favorite of his so far that I've read is Cannery Row, and its sequel Sweet Thursday, and it's set on a cannery row, a sardine cannery row in, I want to say, the 20s or the 30s. I've read so many of his books since then, but it, it it's an objectively terrible place to live. Like, it's not nice at all, but there's such a sense of community with these weird, wonderful people that he's created that you can't help but just be like, God, I would love to pack up and go and live there, no matter what it is.
And finally, vision of theatre. You want to get back into theatre? Is there a show that you'd love to be in? Is there an actor, an actress that you'd like to star with?
Hmm. I think there's quite a lot of characters that I want to revisit. I want to go back and play Algernon again. I feel like there was some things that happened logistically with the production, and I feel like that was kind of left unexplored. But my favorite character that I have played was R.P. McMurphy from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the made famous by Jack Nicholson in the movie from the 70s. It was one of the most amazingly rich experiences as an actor, both in terms of the cast and the character, and what we were able to put together. In terms of the future, I would love to play Sweeney Todd and Fagin.
And finally, we have this or that. So I will give you two options, and you have to pick the one that best describes you. If you pick both, that is fine.
Go, 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 go.
Okay, time alone or time with friends?
Oh, time alone.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
iPhone or Samsung?
iPhone.
Cinema or theatre?
Oh, mate. Wait, to perform in or to watch?
Watch.
To watch. Cinema.
Halloween or bonfire night? I don't think you have bonfire night, actually. Do you?
No, no, we don't. I mean, I know of it, but I've never actually been there when a bonfire night's been on. So I guess Halloween. It's not even that. Halloween's not even that big here in Australia, so it's very much like, do you want nothing or slightly nothing? It's like slightly less than nothing.
Country walk or city stroll?
Country walk.
TV or book?
TV.
City or beach?
Beach.
Night in or night out?
Night in.
Podcasts or playlists?
Podcast.
Broadway or West End?
Oh, well, I've never been to Broadway, but I have been to the West End when it was theatre week as well. So the West End.
And that's it. Anthony, thank you very much for joining me on the Visions podcast. It's been a delight. It's been great to listen to your insight onto the creative industry, and I thank you.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a pleasure. If anyone's watching this, please make sure you give the Visions podcast a follow because this guy is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.